I have a script here, but I really feel like rambling would be a lot more fun. So, you guys remember in the mid 2000s where everyone was just copying Grand Theft Auto or thought, oh no, in order for our platformer game to be really good, we have to be super edgy and super serious. Now, granted, a lot of them worked, and a lot of them didn't. But we're not really here to talk about what worked and what didn't work. I'm here to talk about the series that started off as regular good old platformers, became a little edgy, and then maybe or may not have changed their decision later on depending on the franchise. So, before I get started, I just want to say that this would never have started without the release of Grand Theft Auto 3, a game that was so influential that it literally caused kids to stop playing their old platformers, and it really caused a scare for adults. Game developers saw that and it was like, oh no, we gotta do what the little kiddies like. They like their guns and them shooting up bang bangs. And so several franchises would follow suit. But the one that made the most influence on a certain console generation was in fact So for those who don't remember or are too young, the Jak and Daxter series started off as a spiritual kind of a successor to Crash Bandicoot. The first game had you play as Jak along with Daxter, that little Otso guy right there, and exploring a big old open world with no loading times. Pretty impressive for PS2 standards. But that wasn't enough. Naughty Dog was like, okay, so we're basically making a game that takes away all the fun cutesy stuff from Crash Bandicoot. Translation, we saw GTA 3 and we were like, yeah, we want some of that pie. And so, Jak 2 was born, or Jak 2 Renegade if you live in Europe. Gone were the days of simple plots exploring a big old island and, well, you know, a silent protagonist you could insert yourself into. Jak 2 does such a good job of setting Jak's character and the game's plot, literally by the first sentence Jak ever says at the beginning of the game.
I've been looking for you for 2 years! Say something! Just this once! I'm gonna kill Praxis!
Shh! Right now, we gotta get you out of here. Just let me figure out how to open the security locks for your chair so I can... Or, you can do it.
On top of that, you got fighting a resistance, guns, people straight up dying, boobs, like a lot of boobs, and a protagonist that don't take nothing from nobody. We don't talk about The Last Frontier, that game does not exist. And the whiplash was so drastic, it was good. It was really, really good. The story and the characters really helped sell the game. Not to mention the gameplay formula didn't actually change between Jak 1 and Jak 2. And Jak 3 really just mellowed everything out at the end. Jak X was also really good in that aspect of its story and characters. And even though the series did turn into a more serious route, they never really forgot what their roots were. The Jak series is filled to the brim with jokes and references to past events, and also the big reveal at the end of Jak 3 really goes to show just how much they actually cared about their series, because it turns out that Daxter, the Otso right there that I mentioned before, his DNA is actually the birth of all creatures in the Jak universe. So it turns out that the gods, the precursors, are also those very little things, and the reveal is so funny.
We are unhappy with your performance. If you had been a true hero, you would have stopped Errol by now.
Oh my god.
Yes, well, now we are even more angry, and we order you to avert your eyes, or we will,
Oh, bother.
They look like me. Not what you expected.
Yeah, get that a lot.
Don't look so upset. If you knew we precursors were a bunch of little fuzzy rats, would you worship us? Could we run the universe?
Not possible, buddy.
So, we fluff up the myth a bit.
And we get the respect we deserve.
Next, I want to talk about the Sly series. The Sly series really didn't actually have a edgiest transition like Jak did to Jak 2, but I would say the tone of the story really got a lot more serious in the second game. Let me explain what I mean. So the first Sly Cooper game story tone, it's a lot lighthearted to say the least. I mean, yeah, the game does start off with Sly narrating about how his parents were literally murdered, he was orphaned, and then him, Bentley, and Murray all worked together in order to get the Thievius Raccoonist back. However, the reason why I bring up this game is because the second game really brings up the forefront of just how bad of a person Clockwork was. Like, he had a little bit of that, but just watch this from the opening of Sly 2.
Clockwork. He was consumed with jealousy for the Cooper clan's thieving reputation. Is it inappropriate to refer to him as a monster? No, not at all. What kind of person stays alive for hundreds of years with the express intention of wiping out a rival's family line? Imagine the hatred fueling that first decision to replace his mortal body with soulless machinery. Ultimately, it did the trick. Clockwork lived on. He caught up with my parents, and I wound up in an orphanage. It's there that I met my pals, Bentley, the brains of our outfit, and Murray, the brawn. They turned out to be all the family I needed. 2 years ago, I thought I'd finished it. How naive to think I could so easily put an end to that kind of hatred. And now he's back. In pieces, sure, but the threat is real. Does the Claw Gang even realize what they've stolen?
Even then, if you didn't play the first game, you really wouldn't think this tone shift would be any different. A lot of franchises really did a good job of making their serious tones more in line with the rest of their series. And another example of that would happen to be Ratchet Deadlocked, or Ratchet Gladiator if you live in Europe again. What is with these names, Europe? Come on. I remember playing a demo of this game, and this game's tone is all off the walls. So, you know, the Ratchet and Clank series is mainly known for the fact of its really fun gunplay platforming gameplay. But for some reason, this game was just like, hey, let's make a Gladiator event out of all of it. I mean, sure, there was stuff like that in the last game, but they really act like Ratchet's never been through this before, and the stakes are super high as he can die at any moment. Like, he couldn't have done that in the other tournaments he's ever done in the last few games, but this one is super serious, guys. Trust me. Trust me. A lot of Sony series in this list. Kind of funny, but I still like it. I'll circle back to the Sony series later, but obviously I got to talk about the big elephant in the room. Those tribal tattoos for the Game Boy Advance that Nintendo wanted to promote, and then they put them on Mario. He's never wore those again ever since, and I think that's kind of hilarious. Like, why would you do that? Huh? Okay, fine. I'll talk about Shadow the Hedgehog. As much as I actually do decently enjoy this game, yeah, I know, sue me. Shadow the Hedgehog is such a why. Like, people already got on Sonic Adventure 2 for just the fact that it tried to tell a serious story that included, you know, government espionage, blowing up half the moon, killing an innocent girl and a lot of people aboard a space colony arc. And then Shadow the Hedgehog is just like, okay, so we have aliens, guns, blood, Shadow saying damn, Sonic saying damn, Eggman getting killed.
What? Goodbye, Doctor.
This game is stupid. This game is so stupid. It's the perfect encapsulation of everything dumb in that fucking era. Oh my god. Can you believe this came out the same year as Sonic Riders? What happened? Actually, I might be wrong about that. Editor, you might want to check for me. But Sonic would do it again a few years later. Yeah, 06 was a thing. Stop acting like it wasn't. This game isn't as edgy or try hard as Shadow the Hedgehog, but it was definitely a lot more serious than SA2. But let's think about it for a sec. What did Sonic 06 do to make it seem so edgy and serious? Well, let's see. We have an art style that makes all the Sonic characters stick out more of a sore thumb compared to the more realistic Final Fantasy-esque human character designs. We have a literal being of darkness that wants to destroy the world and the space-time continuum. Sonic the Hedgehog dies in the anniversary title of his own game. And, you know, that's pretty much most of what the game had to offer at the time. It's remember the fact that Project 06 is the reason why people still like this game in the first place. I think I'll also bring up Sonic and the Secret Rings in this category as well, because while the game's story isn't really edgy, they really do wave the fact that Sonic's life is on the line because he got shot in the chest with a flame that will eventually kill him by the end of the game. Not that it really matters. Hey, Shara dies though. Unfortunately, we can't bring up Sonic and the Black Knight because, wait, never mind. That game came out in March of 2019. Ah, yes, the game every Sonic character analysis video will use to talk about how Sonic is a great character. And they're right. However, this game's story is very, very weird. The storybook games are really unique when it comes to showing off Sonic's character because Sonic is put into a world that's not his own. The reason why I added this game to the list of the edgy games in the 2000s mainly comes from the fact that this game's topic of death is really, really, really potent. Like Merlina's entire character arc, Knuckles tries to kill himself, Sonic literally fights the embodiment of death in Merlina because, well, she wants a world that lasts for eternity. And Sonic's like, nah, people die. You just gonna have to accept that. And then beats her ass. And then, of course, that badass quote that made a lot of people really just ride or die with this series ever since. Like, just listen.
Merlina,
Every world has its end. I know that's kind of sad, but that's why we gotta live life to the fullest in the time we have. At least, that's what I figure.
Grandfather. Well done, Sir Simon.
Thanks to you guys.
You can say that again.
And finally, I get to talk about Ape Escape because it's my series. Shut up. The Ape Escape series was Sony's answer to, I guess, anything Nintendo related. It's the most light-hearted series Sony has ever made. It's a series about catching monkeys while using the dual analog controllers in order to execute gadget control. A lot of games really owe it to Ape Escape for being able to use the dual analog sticks in today's modern gaming control schemes. But that's not why it's here. This game series went from a series of catching monkeys, and then it had one of the most edgiest games to ever release in its entire franchise, because no other game in the series compares to Ape Escape Million Monkeys. Uh-oh, there's an albino white monkey causing issues around the world. Okay, sounds simple. Million Monkeys was like, okay, so monkeys are causing war. I mean, literal war. Like, people are dying, vehicles exploding, giant mechs kind of war. Then there are these designs of these Pipatron monkeys, and bro, what are these? They kill a man. A man actually dies in this game. And then he turns into goo, and then the goo starts killing people around the world. And then we kill the goo? The game's fun as shit, though. I do recommend everyone play it. But yeah, those are just some of the games from the 2000s that originated from platformer series or other game genres that weren't really edgy in the start. Let me know if you missed any. This was stupid. I love you all. Goodbye.